We've got a ton of coverage to get to today, but first, we all woke up to Baker Mayfield on our Twitter timeline saying, I'm going to fuck them up. So you know what, Baker? I've been nice so far. Now you're on the other team. Now you're the opponent week 1. And now Myles Garrett, if he wasn't amped before, you know he's going to be bringing it even extra week 1. So spam 95 in the comments section if you can't wait to see Myles Garrett go off for 5, 6, 7 sacks. Who gives a damn against number 6? Who's pumped up right now? Let's go. Football is back, guys. We got the latest news and rumors as NFL roster cut day is one of the 5 busiest singular days, I would say, in the NFL schedule with like the draft and whatever. You get the point here. But we've got some cuts to go over. I'm going to highlight some of the notable cuts that have been made thus far, plus some interesting trade rumors. The Browns are interested in this guy and not interested in this guy. And then 2 waiver wire targets to keep an eye on for Andrew Berry maybe to pounce on as that 11 a.m. noon Central Time deadline tomorrow for those waiver wire pickups. But here are some of the notable cuts made thus far. In fact, I'm going to check out Twitter right now to make sure no one's been added, but no. So Josh Rosen, Johnny Stanton, that's a tough one right there, and it seems that the Browns are not interested in bringing him back on the practice squad. Javon Wims was earlier, and then Mike Harley, a bit of a surprise because a lot of the tea leaves said, well, if you cut Wims, I guess that means Harley makes the roster. Not so fast. Nakia Griffin-Stewart, Miller Forristall, and Zaire Mitchell-Paden. All 3 backup tight ends. That leaves 2 tight ends currently on the roster. Blake Hance and Brock Hoffman on the offensive line. Watch for them to come back on the practice squad. Hance might get scooped up somewhere else. And then Herb Miller kind of surprised me. I liked him in preseason. I guess the Browns just wanted to go with 5 corners and put an extra roster spot somewhere else. But let's look at the wide receiver room. After that Harley cut, the Browns are left with these 5 guys here. It's not a very sexy looking room outside of Amari Cooper. In fact, I'll add to that and say it's not a very proven wide receiver room outside of Amari Cooper, which is why I think the Browns are going to be making some sort of move. Could it be Jalen Reagor? Well, Brad Stainbrook, who this is like his Super Bowl right now, he's doing an awesome job of keeping up with the cuts, tweeting out Reagor trade to Cleveland is unlikely as of now. So the Browns had some loose interest, some people said, earlier this preseason, but it appears that they're not going to be barking up that tree. Another tree they could be looking at is the waiver wire tree. And Tyler Johnson was released by the Bucs earlier this morning. So Johnson is an intriguing name, and this is a name we've talked about on the show. A former 5th-round draft pick for the Buccaneers. Career-wise, 31 games played, nearly 50 receptions, over 500 yards. That would make him the 3rd most proven and just in terms of like receptions-wise, highest on this current depth chart here. Now, the Browns, the way waiver wire works is it's the draft order. Now, the Browns traded their 1st-round pick away. That doesn't mean they lose their waiver wire spot. So that means they're in line at 13, because that's, believe it or not, who remembers those days of mock drafts, that's when the Browns were scheduled to originally pick. Will Tyler Johnson make it to 13? It's hard to say. I'm not going to act and stand like I'm a waiver wire guru here. It doesn't seem all that likely. He's one of the hottest names out there, and to fall to 13 would be quite the fall, but NFL is an unpredictable league. Crazy things happen. Here's my take on the entire situation right now. The Browns, they are not done at wide receiver. They're going to be making some sort of move. I will probably be standing up here talking to you guys for sure later today once the entire roster is released, but also talking about a trade or a waiver wire or a signing they made. Now, there are some people asking about, could the Browns go out and sign T.Y. Hilton or Will Fuller? I think if the Browns were going to go that route, they would have already done it, right? Why wait so long in the game to just go out and sign someone you could have had all preseason long to build and develop that chemistry and learn the playbook? Now, I want you all to pipe in here and let me know who you would like to see the Browns go out and sign or trade. Just drop a name down in the comment section. for a player you would like to see suit up in brown and orange. Let's look at the tight end room because the Browns pretty much gutted this room today. Miller Forristall, Nakia Griffin-Stewart, and Zaire Mitchell-Paden all cut, which leaves David Njoku and Harrison Bryant for that Will Smith meme of just looking around the room like, all right. And then there were two, Agatha Christie. Now, I think the Browns are definitely going to make a move here. They're not going to roll with two tight ends into the regular season. Now, Brad Stainbrook did offer this sort of insight earlier, saying the belief by some is the Browns will chase tight end O.J. Howard. Now, the Colts reportedly are also interested in O.J. Howard. Now, we're talking about a former first-round pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that ultimately just couldn't catch on in Tampa due to two reasons. Injuries and a guy named Rob Gronkowski coming down with Brady and sort of taking his job. Now, the last 4 years for Howard have been up and down, right? Not always being healthy, not always being available for the team, but he's a huge tight end target. And that's something the Browns don't really have in Njoku and Harrison Bryant, right? They don't have that tight end, red zone fade tight end, and that's O.J. Howard. I would love to see the Browns go out and make a trade for Howard, or not even a trade at this point, go after him in waiver wires or some other veteran tight end. We know the Browns are not going to stick with just two tight ends. They're going to make some type of move. There's not going to be much of an argument on this frontier. I was surprised that they cut all three tight ends outside of the two roster locks. I thought Nakia Griffin-Stewart put a good enough preseason tape together to make this roster. Miller Forristall is a bit of a surprise. I think most people thought he'd be make this roster in July, early August, but not the best preseason. Now, we've got some more moves to get to on the waiver wire that the Browns could be pursuing. But first, make sure you go ahead and click that sub button. I'm going 1,000 miles an hour here. It is NFL roster cutdown day. So if you're looking for a full list of the Cleveland Browns 53-man roster, when that is dropped, go ahead, subscribe, turn your notifications on, and never miss a thing. Before we jump into the final waiver wire target, we've got an awesome deal going on at Fanatics. So jerseys can be a bit pricey, but Shirzies, that's the new way to go, where it's a t-shirt, custom jersey. Get any player, any name, any number, whatever you want to do. If you want to be the guy at First Energy Stadium or in the Mooney Lot with your name and number 69 on the back, that's nice. Or you can go Amari Cooper, Nick Chubb, whoever's your favorite player. Get it right now. Chatsports.com/Browns shirt. Links in the comments and the description. My advice to you is do it now so that you can have it by the week 2 home opener instead of having to be the guy wearing a Baker Mayfield jersey in the parking lot during the tailgate and you don't have your new stuff coming in until week 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. Let's look at this defensive line room really quickly here because you could see some action happen here. Now, the Browns have made a lot of cuts so far. In fact, they've made majority of cuts so far. But they have not really made any moves from releasing a Tommy Togiai and Perion Winfrey. So there is one name we'll look at here, McTelvin Agim, and we can look at his stats. 12 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1.5 sack, and 3 QB hits. He was just recently released by the Denver Broncos, a former third-round pick back in 2020 out of Arkansas. This could be a name to keep an eye on, and the Browns might want to, spice up their interior defensive line by adding a player like Agim, who's coming off his best game of his career in the preseason finale for the Broncos. So maybe he can ride that high onto whatever team claims him. Now, between wide receiver and defensive tackle, I want to end the show with this question. What do you think is the bigger need, right? If you wanted the Browns to make one move, whether it's through a trade, whether it's on the waiver wire, whatever it may be, which move should that be? Defensive tackle or wide receiver? Let me know in the comments section. And hey, if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter. I'm tweeting out all the Browns cuts, keeping you guys up to date and posted on the latest news and rumors. So give me a follow at Matthew Petey.